If you're not aware of your own innerst layer and somebody insults you, it can happen that like somebody insulted me and then I just started exploding. Yeah, but the fact is, before something explodes, before I explode, first of all, something must be lit. The small little flame already must have been lit. So when I already knew who is it that I'm going to meet, maybe that already, hearing the name from him already was already the starting point of a potential explosion to happen. Yeah. So then, this was where when this little flame already started being there. And then you literally can feel things like this. You can feel when something has been injected into you, when something starts to arise. Because when the fire is already too big, when the whole house is burning, you're not going to put down that fire in any way. You can only put down all of these fires before things come too big. Meaning, we must find a way to be directly grabbing the root, grabbing the core, or grabbing the source of the explosion. And the only way that I know is you need to become more sensitive for everything that goes on in your body, in your surrounding, in everything. This is where, for me, awareness does play a role.
Number one is to, first of all, ask some pretty essential questions about this lifetime, first of all. It can be the question, where do we come from? Where do we go? What is the sense of life? Ask this question. And based on that, when you then come up with the conclusion, okay, don't waste my lifetime, then how are you going to make it? So break it down, but that everything that you are doing on a daily basis is still in the big perspective of the answer that you gave to yourself, what is the sense of life? So whatever you are doing, does it still fit into that wider perspective when you ask yourself the question, what is the sense of life? What's the purpose of life? What is my mission? What am I supposed to do? Where am I going to go? Yeah.
The amount of sleep, I'm happy if I have 7 hours. When I have 7 hours, I'm happier. Yeah. 6 hours is quite limit. So 6 is really limit. I can maintain even 5 or 6 hours, but after a few days, I feel it's not good to continue like this. Because then you're starting to really burn some energy which you cannot recover anymore. Very interesting now when it comes to that word energy, how it is related to diet, breathing, and lifestyle. The quickest way to change something about the way how you feel during the day or energy state are these 3 things: diet, breath work, and lifestyle. If you have good, nutritious food, if your breathing apparatus is working properly, and if your lifestyle, let's say waking up at a certain time, going to bed early enough, having enough sleep, if you maintain all of these 3 things, chances are very, very good that your energy level is proper. If the diet is not good, if your breath is not good, if your lifestyle is not good, still you are alive somehow, but the energy that is now being sucked out from you in order to make you still functioning, it is coming from something that we, let's say in the ancient tradition, call it comes from your essence, which means ultimately no good lifestyle, no good food, no good breath, life short. You die early. Very simple. So that's it. This world that we are living in, there's always an exchange between the left side and the right side, the bad side and the good side, the negative and the positive, the pessimistic and the optimistic. That's why for me, those 2, they always belong together. And it is normal for me that sometimes circumstances are bad, but I also know, at the moment, but it's an exchange. Sooner or later, it will be also becoming good again. Now I'm a little bit depressive, but it's gonna change. Same way is, now everything is positive. Yeah, but I know it's gonna change. Things are changing. Nothing ultimately stays as it is. That's why I'm not sure if it is a positive mindset that I would propagate. My mindset would be that you are neither stuck in a negative one, but you're also not stuck in a positive one. So your perspective, your mindset would be one that at all times always sees actually the exchange of this one and this one. And sometimes, out of circumstances, out of whatever reasons, sometimes it's more based upon here. But then you also know just a question of time, I move here. So to understand the interplay of these two and accept it actually that also the negative part is part of my life. As long as I also take care that it doesn't stay for a too long time in my life, I can have my bad days. Because to push yourself in having positive thoughts, be optimistic, I don't know, can also sometimes be like you see people do it, but you can feel they're not. They behave like everything would be great, great life, yeah, but I can see inside it's not. You have to be as you are, based with all two forces. It's just that stay calm, nothing stays as it is. See the interplay always of both forces. And then get calm about it and regulate it. And then somewhere along the line, maybe it becomes balanced then. Let go of yourself and then you can see yourself. Without judgment, just see yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. This is a nice practice. Yeah, next time you're drunk or anything like this, stand in front of the mirror, look at you for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can also do it without alcohol and then look deep inside. Not only inside, also look at your skin, look at the scars in the face, look at the scars on the body. There is something about the expression, everything about you. There's a story behind it. Nothing on your body is there by coincidence. Looking at yourself and reading the history about yourself is something many people cannot do. And in Buddhist teaching, there's a nice saying. There are 3 things that can never be hidden: the sun, the moon, the truth. Whatever you have done in this lifetime, consciously or unconsciously, it's better to know of what has been done. Then you know who you are and you know what to adjust in order for you to move on into the future. If there are still too many things of the past inside of you that you don't even know about, what have you done? Things that are unresolved is difficult to move on. The only way to move on is to unknot all the connections that you have established in the past. Unknotting all the karmic relations that you have established, consciously or unconsciously. It's not an easy thing to do. Very often it is thoughts that also make us suffer. It is something that you have here inside. One thing is being forgotten along the line. The truth that whoever and whatever you are creating and are intending to create and are intending to gather now and starting to attain things. Your attainment maximum is going to last 100 years. That is the other truth. You have this goal in the mind. You put all your energy, all your effort into trying to achieve that. You're 20 years old, you're trying. You're 30 years old, you're trying. 40 years already, you're still trying. 50 years, you still haven't let go of the idea. At some point, hopefully, you see exactly how you personally already wasted 30 years of following a goal with the conclusion of 2 things. Number 1, you haven't achieved it yet. Or number 2, you didn't have the right way of achieving it. But the bottom line is you have 2 ways now what to do. Let go of the idea that you need it and redirect your life, or redirect your approach of how you still want to achieve that goal if you don't want to let go of it. But apparently one of these 2 things is not right. And the more you want your life in the future to be quite different than what you're used to, the more you need to be able to let go. Let go of patterns, let go of the way of thoughts that you had in the last years and months. Now, if nothing changes about that, there will not come a new life. If you want to go deep in something, time is necessary in how much you're spending with something. But at the same time, it's also your ability to observe. I also witness quite a lot like feeling inside the people. The mind sometimes I feel is not there. They are physically at a very beautiful place. Physically they are there, but the mind seems absent. Because apparently the mind and the body is nothing which naturally is regarded as being together. And this is the result of why? Because sometimes of the system. Because you continuously look and search for something which is not here right now. So what does it mean? It means body is here, but your mind is looking for something. And if you don't pay attention to this, it can just manifest and express itself in exactly such things. You find yourself actually in a place which is super beautiful, which is offering everything that you need, but you are not going to recognize it because your mind is a step already again ahead of it. And if this type of pattern, if this type of habit and conditioning you don't realize about yourself, I really think you're missing some essential part about living this lifetime, which is about the enjoyment of what you have. Work for things you like to have, do the work in order to get it, but observe yourself at the same time when it comes, when it enters your life. Do you still have the ability to really forget everything else and just enjoy what you have? There's something about balance there. It's really helpful. And especially, it doesn't cost anything. At the end of the day, you are the one, it's your life. You decide and you take the consequences. If sometimes in this lifetime you feel I'm stuck somehow, why? Why are you stuck? Because you continuously try to move forward with the old patterns that also haven't worked the last 10 times. It's time for a new perspective. If somebody wakes up every morning without any goal, without any purpose, but feels just fulfilled, no need for purpose. But I think in the modern society, we find it probably a phenomena. You have everything, more or less. Wake up, but there is this discontentment. Don't know what to do with your time. Don't know the sense of, I don't know. And then I think it would make sense to add just as a motivator. It makes sense to give your life a purpose. You put yourself a mission statement. First thing is just you need to keep going. You need to do something in order to make use of the lifetime that has been given to you. But along this way, things are going to change. There will come the period you do, and then you realize all the doing actually brought nothing. So maybe you will return back to it's about the non-doing. And then you do nothing again. But then at the same time, you realize, yeah, but with all the non-doing, I know I could do actually much more. Then you start doing again. And along this way, you're going to figure out the middle way for you to live. It's both of them. It's not about being active all the time, and it's also not about being passive all the time. It's about being present in all of these times. The best would be you have a so-called self-discipline, meaning you understand when it's necessary now to stick to the plan, and also to realize when you are actually just about to break your plan. That's discipline. But sometimes people do not have this self-awareness, that self-observation. They don't see it from themselves. And this is why then the discipline must come from an external source. Your father must be there telling you, this is not how it's done. An organization, the military must be there to tell you, it's 4 o'clock, wake up. Because by yourself, you wouldn't do it. Okay? So this is also like in terms of discipline, which one? Self-discipline or external? It depends on who. Hope is really, really deeply embedded where internally you don't care about what 8 billion other people say. You have it and you're going to do it. The less fearful you are, the more you're going to expand, the more you're going to discover. Now the question is, how can I now learn to face your fear? Yeah, to face it. Facing pain. You don't have to jump right away into the darkness. Not many people can do this. but realizing, okay, this is right now my comfort zone. And tomorrow I'm already trying one thing that is new to me. It still feels uncomfortable to me, but okay, let's try. Just one step out. Next day, another step out. Meaning, integrate the jump into the uncertainty into your lifetime until it becomes a habit. This is the one way. How to develop that ability to go against the fear. This is one thing. I'm not only talking about human relationships. I'm not talking about love relationships only. There can be many types of relationships. So first we need a connection. That connection can mean that feeling-wise maybe, based on the emotional, on the feelings, on your emotional states, maybe there is something that is in resonance, which means there is something that two beings have in common. That's why it's resonating. So if this type of connection is already there, then I think it's a good starting point. On the other side, what can also happen is that in the mind, you are having a desire for something, but the feeling is not one of connection that you have there. In the mind, it says, yes, I want, but feeling-wise, it's not there. This is for me not a good starting point. How do I know if a relationship can develop into a healthy way? I think you must directly start right from the beginning. If the feeling with which you have entered into this relation, no matter what type, if there is resonance. Of course, we think we know what we want. The question is that what you want, does it fit to what another person wants? What you want, does it fit together what like your dog wants? And if there is no basic, if there is no way that you can connect, and after the connection, what is happening then? Exchange. Exchange, giving and taking. Meaning also, if within one type of connection, if one type of relationship, the flow is always one directional, it's not going to work. So after connecting, after resonance, then the question is, how do you see the flow of exchange within this bond? And if it is a healthy flow where nothing is stagnating, there is a giving and a taking. From times this can change, but it's there. So there is flow. Then I think a relationship can develop in very nice directions.